Good evening and welcome to the Extra here on BN Sports. I'm your host Jeremy St. Louis. Happy to have you along tonight. Today is one of the busiest days in the footballing calendar for 2015. We have a lot of stuff to get to tonight, a lot of discussion ahead, and of course I'm not by myself to do it. We have a great panel for tonight's program. First of all, when you talk about best defenders in world football, Ali Krieger's name has to be there. Defender with the U.S. women's national team, a World Cup winner. Part of the back line that held opponents 540 minutes without a goal. Ali, it's great to have you on the program. I'm looking forward to chatting with you tonight.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's been with us all day long, so you're holding up
Yes,
well. It's good to see
I am. I should have brought my sleeping bag.
Juan Pablo Angel is someone who is a Aston Villa legend. Yeah, New York Red Bulls fans would call you a legend as well. Great Colombian international. You've been with us through the entire international break. Great to have you along, too.
Yes, I just got a question before we get started. You know, it's just black pants, blue jacket, just taking fashion to a different level, no?
Yeah. I had spilled coffee on my blue pants, so I had to put the black pants on tonight. Thanks for calling me out on that. Seriously, though, Ali, one of the world's best defenders, Juan Pablo Angel, a great attacking player. Ali, if you were to see this man coming towards you, how would you stop him?
I don't know if I'd have to move too much now.
Oh, okay.
Which could move.
No, just kidding.
You take the yellow card, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's what
I don't do it too often, but maybe against
That's
them.
what we want. Also at the other end of the couches, the other end of the easy chairs, is Kevin Egan, a man who is as passionate about football as anybody I've ever met. One of the most intelligent guys in the game as well. An analyst here on BN Sports. You've had a busy day as well, calling some games today, so it's nice to have you on the program too.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. Great to be here. The Jurgen Klinsmann called it and said, I'd be happy with a draw. That's exactly what he got. And what was quite a poor game of football all around. Both teams at the end, I think, settled for the 0-0.
Yeah, we start in CONCACAF with the game that you saw earlier in the day here on BN Sports. The United States men's national team in Port of Spain taking on Trinidad and Tobago. It was a game that the United States, Jurgen Klinsmann going in, had said that he would take the draw, but would certainly want the win. With the call from the match, here's Phil Shane and Kevin Egan.
And we are underway. Trinidad in their familiar red and black defending the goal towards the left. An all-white kit for the United States on the green grass of the Hazley Crawford Stadium. Phil Shane, Kevin Egan with you. Glad you could join us. Through the legs of Tim Ream. Played square by Jones and blasted up and over. First shot from Trinidad just 20 seconds in. And wishing he had another go, Jovan Jones over the crossbar. Holds on. Speaking of spins, Jones on the pirouette. And he lifts it up over Tim Howard, but on the wrong side of the net. Oh, so close. Through ball, burst of speed. Cato gets around Ream and rolls it wide. Had Tim Howard at his mercy. Split the defense, but can't find the net. Now looking to take a bite, DeAndre Yedlin wide for Altidore, lifts it across, Artis, off woodwork, the goal at his mercy, Williams had come out, but he can't put it into the empty net. So close. Turns, tries to take on the defense. Highland forces him back. Jones can shoot from here, just off the top of the crossbar. They laid back. And he almost knocked him over. For Stephen Hart, screaming, partly in frustration, partly in celebration, 4 points, and joint top of the table on points with the U.S. Smile for the ex-Canada coach in his hometown, and Trinidad and the U.S. share the points.
All right, here's the man that we picked out as the player of the game for Trinidad and Tobago. Kenwyne Jones played the full 90 minutes, had 2 shots on goal. One of them made it to the target. 100% passing accuracy. That's something certainly nice to see. Fouls drawn, 1, and fouls committed with 2. Our Julian Gonzalez and Christopher Sullivan are in Port of Spain to see the game tonight, and we get their post-match thoughts. Gentlemen, good evening.
Historically, whenever the U.S. has played Trinidad and Tobago right here in Port of Spain, no result has been by more than 1 goal. So only fitting these two sides played to a scoreless draw tonight. Joining me right now is former U.S. national team midfielder Christopher Sullivan. Sully, good point by the United States, but they did drop some. They had some good opportunities in the match.
Yeah, absolutely, Julian. I thought that they built on the game that they played. The first one, the choreographed movements, orchestration was good. They were sound after the first 15 minutes. I give the first 15 minutes slight tilt to Trinidad, but the rest of the game, I thought the U.S. was in control, and they were able to manage the flow, and they put themselves in good positions to win this game. Unfortunately, in the final third, they were just missing a little quality. I thought Josie Altidore was extremely good with his touches, his passes, laying off balls into midfielders to come forward, and Jermaine Jones, I thought, played spectacular in the midfield as far as holding down the midfield in a game that was very difficult.
After a tough year, 2015, the United States come out with a win, and they picked up this draw. What did we learn from these two matches?
Well, we learned that it's a team, that's trying to integrate new players. They're trying to find their form. They're trying to find their rhythm. I mean, they're still not yet high octane, and they're not, relentless in attack. So they're not free flowing completely, but they got a little more fluidity. They have some pause and rhythm in their game and control, and I think they're well poised to do well against Guatemala in the home and away.
Yeah, speaking of that home and away, that'll take place in March. 6 points the United States can pick off against the Chapines and really secure a spot in the hex phase for the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. For Christopher Sullivan, I'm Julian Gonzalez for BN Sports.
Thank you very much, Julian. Let's get the panel's thoughts. Ali, what did you take away from this game?
It probably wasn't the most exciting football match I've ever seen. I think the U.S. has been playing pretty predictable football, and so I really enjoyed when a few of the younger talented players came into the game and made it a little bit more unpredictable. But obviously the result is everything. We got the point, and now we're moving on with 4 points going against Guatemala in March and having those 2 games. So I think that is really good for us, and they should be happy about that.
Juan Pablo.
Yeah, stick to the result, Jeremy. I think at this stage of the competition, it's important to get a point at least. I have to agree with Chris Sullivan in terms of the quality in the final third. The U.S. had the best chances, and they should at least score a goal in there.
Kev?
The quality in the final third was better. I didn't think the aggression was there. They needed to go and set their own tempo and make things happen themselves. Instead, in the first half, the US just sat back and invited pressure. And I didn't like to see that because the players are good enough to go there and kind of force their own agenda, I felt. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the World Cup winner. I'm going to go for a little walk up to the touch screen and take a look at a few things, Ali Krieger, from this game today. I want to take a look. Let's take a look first and foremost here at the match stats. Did anything stand out to you?
Yes, the possession stood out to me, and also maybe the passing, the accurate passing.
What about the passing accuracy?
It was more on the United States side, which then results, obviously, tells us a lot about the possession because they did have more.
About 2 shots on target from the United States, 3 for Trinidad.
True. You would expect a little bit more.
Qualifier, you want to try and carve out those opportunities. So, I know you have one player in particular that impressed you. Who was it?
Yeah, Darlington Nagbe. When he came in, I think that he's electric, and with his movements and is playing so unpredictable, which is what I think we need. And that really, really impressed me.
He came into the game in the 69th minute. So there you go. 22 minutes of play. He has 21 touches. Got himself nice and involved. And if we look at his passing in this match, I thought, like you mentioned, he was quite industrious. Out of 19 passes, completed 16, created 1 chance with that as well. So good stuff from Darlington Nagbe. Let's take a look at some analysis in this game. And one thing we discussed, Ali, was the United States in the first half could have been much better with the ball, couldn't they? At times, they just gave the ball away in cheap areas. This, for me, was a good passing sequence from the United States, nice and early. Now, DeAndre Yedlin gets the ball in tight spaces, and we talked about this. His ability to create in tight spaces is not there, and there's other players to do so. Loses the ball. Jovan Jones tears all the way down the opposite end, and he drags him down for a free kick.
But I think in these moments, once you lose the ball, the next 5 seconds is the most important time to win it back. So you see that sometimes, he let off the pressure, and he could have won it back again very, very quickly and then gone and transitioned again. But obviously the pressure wasn't there, and, they lost the ball in a few tight spaces, which shouldn't normally happen in these games.
They can work on it. They're technically good enough. But they did
Absolutely.
create in the second half.
Yeah.
Jassy Zardes, the LA Galaxy man, had a big-time opportunity. Here we see a lovely pass. It is DeAndre Yedlin this time. Josie Altidore. And how about that for a cross?
Yeah. I think that's fabulous.
That's
Obviously
Krieger.
actually playing on the right-hand side. You love to see that in these types of games, but also them combining together. They need to know their movements off the ball. They need to know their movements together, playing up top. And I think that they did a good job of that a couple times in
All right,
each one
I
of the
need
halves.
an absolute honest answer off you. Yes or no? Abby Wambach puts that away.
Yes, for sure. 100%. 100%,
I love
yes.
it.
Jeremy, back to you.
That's a great answer. Klinsmann said going into this game, I mean, there is a lot of talk about the fact that he said he would take the draw, but obviously they want the win for the doubleheader. You get the 6 points off the hop. What does this result do for the young players in this team, Juan Pablo?
I think at the end of the day, it's important that they're getting points, especially away from home. One of the things that happens historically is that Trinidad and Tobago has been proven always a very tough place. So to get the result, he signed for it. He went looking for it, and at the end of the day, he got it. And so now he has time just to incorporate all of these players, keep working with them, and give them the opportunity just to keep growing into the team.
Kevin, Klinsmann was under pressure coming into this doubleheader. He gets the 4 points. Is the pressure off, or is it just delayed?
I think there's a steady amount of heat on the seat for the next few months. When you look at it, they don't play again now until March. It's a long break, isn't it, for the international players? But they play Guatemala home and away. The first game is in Guatemala. A slip up there will make that home game, Ali, an awful lot more tricky than a few days later, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have the home atmosphere, your home crowd, your home fans, and I think that's going to give the United States a bit of confidence before they have to head to Guatemala for that second leg.
Jurgen Klinsmann's record with the U.S. men's national team is what you're seeing on the screen there. Kev, he's been through one World Cup cycle already. Learned the lessons of World Cup qualifying. Do you get the sense that he is able to institute the plan and the things that he learned the first time around?
I would say yes, but the match against Mexico was such a huge setback for me with Jurgen Klinsmann. Given his tactics that day, knowing what Mexico were all about, and he didn't give the US a chance to succeed, I don't think, with the players that he picked, in the positions that he picked. Now, what you've seen over the last few games is playing players in the right position. Can you imagine if he said, right, Juan Pablo, I'm going to play you at right back, or I'm going to play you left wing? When you take guys out of their comfort zone or put them in a different position, it's an awful lot, it's a much trickier thing to do. And Fabian Johnson today was on the left-hand side of midfield. It was good there during the week against St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well. DeAndre Yedlin on the right-hand side. There's a lot of guys that he played today in the right position, and I thought you saw a little bit of a reaction. But going forward, there are plenty of other guys in the talent pool that I think Jurgen Klinsmann needs to give an opportunity to.
For Trinidad and Tobago, Stephen Hart's really done a job with this team. They are now unbeaten in 9. They lost to Panama at the Gold Cup, but that was on penalties. So they are unbeaten in 9 games. What does this result do for their confidence?
I think it's a bit of the same, as long as, the U.S. is going to be one of the toughest, teams to beat in this competition. So just to get a point, I think it's important for them just going forward.
Ali, do you think that they get the bigger lift out of this game?
Absolutely. I mean, this is, I feel like going up against the U.S. and in this type of environment in such a big game, I think that you build confidence off of that. Even getting a point for both teams, I think that it's a good step in the right direction.
In the last 5 games, 2 wins and 3 draws, and they've managed to score some goals while they're at it. So, 1 win and 3 draws, and 1 loss. 10 goals scored. They've conceded 9 goals, but still not too bad. They're a team that seems to have the talent to be able to really push any of the teams that they would face if they get through to the Hex part of the tournament, you would think.
You know what you're going to get against them. They're physical, they're strong, they have a little bit more quality to the team. But when you look at this competition, you always have the U.S. and Mexico. Those are the 2 best teams in the CONCACAF.
Well, 2 teams that were looking for their first positive result of CONCACAF qualifying were Guatemala and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. St. Vincent and the Grenadines hosting Guatemala, and as you can see, really didn't go St. Vincent's way. They got lit up 6-1 by the United States. Here they get lit up 4-0 by Guatemala. Guatemala with 2 goals on either side of the half. In the first 3 points of qualifying for them, St. Vincent remains 0. They've given up 10 goals. Here are the updated Group C standings then after 2 rounds of play for everyone involved. The United States on top by a goal difference over Trinidad and Tobago, both sides on 4 points. Guatemala are third on 3 points, with St. Vincent and the Grenadines sitting in fourth position. The next games, as we've mentioned, March 25th, that is a Friday, St. Vincent and the Grenadines take on Trinidad and Tobago. It's the start of the turnaround games in Guatemala that take on the United States. So certainly some good games coming up as they do the turnaround. So you are going to see in the next international break the teams that are going to be playing home and away. Over in Group B, two teams that were surprise in CONCACAF and were expected to be a surprise in qualifying certainly were a surprise, but not necessarily in a good way. We're talking about Haiti and Jamaica, two teams that lost their opening World Cup qualifiers, met each other on this day, each looking for their first 3 points. Going to last Friday's game, Haiti had won 4 of their last 5. Their only loss coming to Jamaica in the Gold Cup quarterfinal. Jamaica shorthanded for this one. Captain Rudolph Alston and Giles Barnes both opting out. Gareth McClary and Alvis Powell also out. 62nd, they get the game-winning goal. Clayton Donaldson making it 1-0 to Jamaica. And that was the final result here. They've scored just 6 goals in their last 6 games and record just their second win since the Gold Cup against 4 losses. Haiti's 4 losses have all been by 1-0 scorelines. In Panama City, the meeting of the leaders of Group B. Panama welcoming Costa Rica. The visitors coming in having played in 6 straight 1-0 games. 3 wins and 3 losses, and Panama's Friday win over Jamaica was their first win in 5 games. This one was a little bit wet, but it did end up getting a goal for Costa Rica. They were in control of this one. Up 2-0 in the 71st. And Panama do get a clean sheet spoiler, make it a 2-1 final. Costa Rica do get the win. Panama's win over Jamaica was the first time they'd scored more than 1 goal since March, 13 games ago. They only get 1 goal here. Here's the setup in Group B after 2 rounds of play. Then Costa Rica are on top with 6 points. Panama and Jamaica each tied with 3. And then Haiti sitting at the bottom on 0 points. In terms of the turnaround games, Panama play Copa America Centenario qualifier versus Cuba in January before heading to Haiti in March. Costa Rica head to Jamaica. That game on Friday, March the 25th. All right, it is time for us to take a break here on the Extra. But when we come back, we're going to continue the CONCACAF discussion. Mexico taking on Honduras. We will have those moving pictures and discussion coming up after the break. Stay with us. This is the Extra on beIN Sports.